With Marvel Rivals coming out soon, we're going through each of the characters. These are the duelists. The Punisher. The Punisher's normal attack fires at enemies with his automatic rifle. He's got a second normal attack which fires enemies with his shotgun. He can launch a hook to generate a cable that enables the Punisher to move forward rapidly with vantage connection. Deploy a culling turret that grounds Punisher while dealing massive damage. Throwing a smoke grenade forward can obscure enemy vision with Scourge Grenade. The Punisher's ult unleashes 2 Gatling guns and missiles that attack the enemies with Final Judgment. During all this, his passive retains vision of enemies that disappear from view for a short duration. With Hela, she throws Nightsword Thorns as her normal attack. Astral Flock transforms her into a flock of hell crows that glide forth. She projects an explosive hell sphere to stun nearby enemies with Soul Drainer. Hela can fire multiple Nightsword Thorns that detonate after a delay with her ability Piercing Night. Hela's ult is Goddess of Death. She soars into the sky and unleashes Nastral crows from each hand at will. During all this, she's got 2 passives, Nastroned Crowstorm, which in defeating an enemy generates a Nastroned crow exploding after a duration, as well as Hell's Descent, which allows her to slowly descend to the ground. Storm. Storm can launch forward with a piercing wind blades. She can switch the weather to empower her allies. Tornado grants a movement boost, whilst Thunder grants a damage boost, with her ability Weather Control. Goddess Boosts channels the power of the weather that empowers Storm, which boosts the abilities of Weather Control. Her ult, Omega Hurricane, transforms her into a hurricane that draws in nearby enemies and deals damage. With Magik, she can slash forward her Soul Sword as her normal attack. She can jump through a stepping disc that teleports a short distance in the direction of her movement. With Umbral Incursion, you can dash forward and launch an enemy upward into the air. Spin while swinging the Soul Sword after exiting a stepping disc with Ellerich Whirl. With Magik Slash, she can strike forward an air slash. Magik's ult, Dark Child, transforms her into Dark Child, gaining enhancements to all of her abilities, such as Demon's Rage. She can summon a Limbo Demon that attacks enemies after exiting a stepping disc. Magik's passives converts the damage inflicted on enemies into bonus health for herself. Black Panther. Slice your Vibranium Claws forward with Black Panther on his normal attack. He can lunge forward and deal damage to enemies. Hitting enemies affected with a Vibranium Mark produces bonus health and refreshes his ability. Spiral forward and attack a Vibranium Mark to hit enemies with Spinning Kick. Use Subtle Step to run up a wall and perform a jump after detaching from the wall. He can toss a Vibranium Energy Spear forward, creating a Vibranium Force Field, attaching a Vibranium Mark to enemies in its radius. Black Panther's ult, Bast's Descent. Summon Bast, pouncing forward, dealing damage and attaching a Vibranium Mark to hit enemies. With his passive, Panther's Cunning deals a higher damage when at low health. Spider-Man. His normal attack, Spider Power, swings his fists forward to strike, deals any extra damage to an enemy with a Spider Tracer. Web Swing. Shoot a strand of webbing to swing. With his ability Get Over Here, he shoots a webbing to reel in the hit enemy. If the enemy is tagged with a Spider Tracer, Spider-Man will then get pulled to them instead. He can launch an enemy upward, dealing extra damage to any enemy with a Spider Tracer. With Thwip and Flip, he performs a double jump. Web Cluster shoots and deals damage and attaches a spider tracer to the hit enemy. Spider-Man's ult launches web clusters all around and damages and stuns his enemies. His passive Spider Sense gives a warning of enemies that have been around. Iron Man. Iron Man fires nanopulse cannons forward as his first normal attack, Repulsor Blast. His second normal attack, Unibeam, fires a Unibeam forward. Activate hypervelocity state for a swift forward flight. With Armor Overdrive, activating that state enhances damage of Repulsor Blast and Unibeam. With Micro Missile Barrage, hypervelocity or Armor Overdrive is used. Iron Man can launch a missile bombardment. Iron Man's ult, Invincible Pulse Cannon, fires a devastating pulse cannon in a targeted direction, delivering catastrophic damage to the targeted area upon impact. He may not look like much, but Star-Lord is a threat. Star-Lord has element guns, which shoots his enemies. He can boost and soar forward with his rocket propulsion. Blaster Barrage fires a frenzy of shots, causing damage to enemies within range. He can dodge in the direction of movement and swiftly reload with Stellar Shift. Star-Lord's ult, Galactic Legend, engages in a free flight and lock onto enemies in sight. Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch's normal attack, Chaos Control, uses chaos magic that attacks enemies and restores chaos energy. She can enter the projection state for free flight. She uses Dark Seal to land a hit on a target or the scene, or to generate a force field that periodically stuns enemies within range. She uses telekinesis to fall to the ground slowly. She can consume chaos energy and fire explosive magic missiles, damaging enemies. Scarlet Witch's ult, Reality Ensure, engages her in free flight while charging energy, then she unleashes it to deal a massive damage. Namor. Namor has the Trident of Neptune. He can toss the trident forward, which reduces Aquatic Dominion's cooldown upon every impact. He summons a protective barrier while flying upwards, shielding him while disabling movement and skills used during its duration with Blessing of the Deep. Aquatic Dominion summons a monstrous spawn that can autonomously attack his enemies. Wrath of the Seven Seas. Launch the trident forward to damage any nearby enemies, then direct all monstrous spawn to perform an enhanced attack on the nearest enemy. Namor's ult, Horn of Potus. Summon a Giganto to leap atop enemies within range.